All right. Hello, everyone. I want to welcome you to our Google Classroom training. All right. Give me 1 second. Somebody's texting in and I just need to try to resolve that. One second, guys. Okay. So welcome to the Google Classroom training. I hope you all are doing well. For those of you who do not know who I am, my name is Tricia Fontenot, and I'm the Instructional Technology Facilitator here at the St. Landry Parish School Board. I am also the district's webmaster and social media manager. So what I'm going to do today is go over Google Classroom, and by doing so, I'm going to not only show you the slide deck that I have presented in front of you, but we're going to go back and forth between the slide deck and the actual Google Classroom. So I want to give you an experience where I'm actually walking you through the process of setting up a Google Classroom and managing a Google Classroom. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to talk just a bit about Google Classroom. What is Google Classroom? It's something, a program that we have that's available to all of our schools under Google Apps for Education. Classroom is a way to get all of your students in one place and allows you to easily assign work for students to turn in, okay? So where do you find Google Classroom? It's going to be in the apps here. So if you go to one of your app, like the waffle menu on the left-hand side, near your name or in your Google account, then it should appear here. If it's not appearing here, then you would go to classroom.google.com. So either way, you should be able to get to it. I don't know why mine is not appearing in my list, but typically it's probably because I'm going to the waffle menu on the left and not the right. But if you are unable to get to your classroom, you would simply type in classroom.google.com and that will get you there. All right, so here we go back to our tab here. All right, so Google Classroom helps teachers create and collect assignments and papers. Okay, so it has many time-saving features, like you can make a copy of a document for all of your students. So this is kind of like the equivalent of if I were in a classroom and I'm handing out paper to each of the students. In Google Classroom, you can do the same. You can assign something like a Google Doc, and when you assign it, there's a feature that allows you to create a copy for every single student. So that's just a great feature of Google Classroom. Google Classroom also creates a Drive folder for each of the assignments and students that you have. So students can keep track of what's due on the assignments page and begin working in just a click. Teachers can quickly see who has or who hasn't completed work and provide direct real-time feedback, and mark that in Classroom. Anybody have any questions so far about Classroom and what it is and why you should use Google Classroom to communicate with your students? Feel free to unmute yourself if you need to ask a question. All right, so let's jump into how do we set up a classroom. Well, my classroom is already set up, so when I go to classroom.google.com, it's not going to give this option, so that's why I'm showing it here on the slide. You would simply, again, go to classroom.google.com or go to the waffle menu that's on the side of your initials or your picture, basically in your Google account, okay? If it's a first time using Google Classroom, this is the screen you're going to see. And you would click on Go to Classroom. Once you're in Classroom, as a teacher, you would want to create your own class. So you would then click on the plus sign. So let's go, and I'm going to go to classroom.google.com and we'll create a class. Yes, somebody had a question. No? Okay. Again, if you have a question, there's two ways to ask that. You can unmute yourself and ask that question verbally, or you could type it into the chat box and I'll be monitoring that as we go. All right, so in order to create a class, all right, so let me just take this kind of out of the way. All right, so if everybody is seeing my screen, you see there's a plus sign here. I'm in classroom.google.com. I would click the plus sign, and I'm not a student right now, I'm a teacher. So I would select create class, okay? So that's important. You wanna make sure that you click on the plus sign and click create class. In order to create a class, you need to have a class name. So I'm going to name this Google Classroom Training. And we'll say April 21st, because that's the date, and probably because I have so many classes created with that name already. You can choose to put a section. I'm going to say section 1, just because I want to show you how that appears in the title whenever you actually create the class. Second, you can put a subject, which more than likely, if you're a teacher, you would list a subject here unless you had a self-contained class. So I could put anything, math. I'm going to just put math here. And then you could choose to put your room number as well. I'm not going to do that at this point, but once you have this information in, then you're going to hit create. And you're going to see that Google Classroom is doing the work. They have little dots going, saying that it's creating your class, and then you come to a screen that looks like this. So as you can see, the title of the class is here, Google Classroom Training, April 21. That's what I named it. You can also see that this would be the section number, section 1, and then the class code is here, and we'll talk about that in a bit. So basically, that's what you need to know about this title here for now. If you use the arrow, if you put in a subject, the subject will be here, okay? So they have an arrow down, and that's where you see your subject. Unless, of course, you put the subject in the title, for which it would be right there. All right, so let's go back so we can discuss this. So again, and you're going to get a copy of this slide deck. I'm going to send it to you once the class is over. But again, I just walked you through how to create your own class. You're going to click on the plus sign by your name, click create a class, type in your class name and section. You can type in the subject, the room number, and then click create. Okay. There are two ways to have students join your class, and so I'll talk about it and then I'll walk you through that. So let's look at this. One way that you can have students join your class is going to people, and the other is the site code. Okay, so you can invite students via email to join your class and they'll get a link to click on, or you can give them the class code and they would put in the code and then they would be part of your class. So let's take a look back at my Google Classroom. So this here is my Google Classroom. I'm going to talk a bit about the interface of that classroom. So right here, when you first come to Classroom, you notice that it has on the left Google Classroom Training April 21st, and it has a 1 underneath it, which is indicating the section of that class. The default on Google Classroom, when you go into your class, is going to be in the stream, and we'll talk more about that. Okay, so that's when you create a class, it'll automatically send you to your classroom stream. But let's go along and talk about the tabs. This is a constant in Google Classroom, okay? You'll see every time you log on to Google Classroom, you'll see stream, you'll see classwork, you'll see people, and you'll see grades, okay? So those are the tabs that you will have always. Those are constants, okay? So no matter where you are in Google Classroom, you will see these at the top. I talked about a class code. Let me now show you where your class code is. So if you look under the title, Google Classroom Training, April 21, and the section, you'll see class code. If you click here, it'll display it larger, okay? That is the code that you could give your students. And once you give your students that code, they would then click on the plus sign to join a class. Remember I told you about creating a class? In this case, they would be students. So instead of create a class, when you go to classroom.google.com, they would go to classroom.google.com and they would click on join a class and then put in that class code. There's another way to do it, and I talked about that, which is going right over to people, and then you would select the little person icon right on the side of students, and all of your students will be searchable by name because they're part of St. Landry Parish School Board directory. So let's say that I want to invite, let's see, Jason, somebody named Jason, or let's see, I'm going to invite one of you here. Let's see, I'm going to invite Caitlin. All right, so here I would just select her name, okay? If I wanted to invite a second person, just start inviting that way, okay? So you're just typing the names in. Like, you can also just do the first initial and then the last name and get there too. And then you send them an invite, okay? So I'm sending an invite to 3 people here. Once they go to their email and accept that invite, they will be part of my class. Again, this I find to be the easiest way, especially since you know that they're in the global directory. Just again, find your students and add them to the class. And then once they get that email, they can accept it. Now, if your students are not using email, then again, you would go to the stream, because that's where your classroom title is. And you would want to email them this code with the directions on how to join your class. I can also send you like a how-to guide for the parents so that the parents will know how to join a class on behalf of their students. All right. Anybody have any questions thus far? All right. So while we're still on the stream page, I'm going to show you that you can also change the theme, which means change the look of this banner here. Okay, so I'm going to call it the title banner. You can select theme, and then you can choose one of these themes. So since this is a math class, I might want to go to math and then click on the math or the magnet, math, science, whatever. I might want to click on this and click OK, and you'll see that your theme has changed. All right, so that's something that if you have different sections of classes, that's something that you probably would want to do. All right. Okay, so someone had a question. How do we know if they accepted the invite? That's a great question. You would go to the People tab, and once they accept the invite, their name will no longer be grayed out. Okay, so let me go ahead and I'm gonna send another invite. Jeremy, I'm gonna pick on you right now. I'm gonna send it to Jeremy. Jeremy, if you don't mind, go to your email and accept that invite from me so that people can see how you would be showing up as a student. So keep in mind that now that I'm inviting you to this, your classroom will be you'll be set up, but you'll just be as a student. So there's a difference. You can be a student in a classroom, or you can be the teacher of the classroom. And you can have multiple teachers and multiple students, of course. So if you have a co-teacher and you want to share that responsibility of that classroom, then you can do that. As you can see, Jeremy accepted the invite, and so his name is no longer grayed out. Davelin, Caitlin, Christine, you can do the same. So basically, again, the way to invite is going to people. So let me hop back over here so I can show you a few more things. All right, so again, we talked about students using Classroom to join. They would go to Google Classroom, they would click on the plus sign, but instead of create a class, they're going to go to join a class. So they'll be clicking on join class. Then they type in the classroom code that you gave them. That is the one way, right? So remember, there's two ways to join a class. One, where you give them a code, and they would go to classroom.google.com, click the plus sign, and then join class. Or the other one, where you would actually invite them by going to the People tab and then selecting the name. Again, if you have any questions, just stop me. All right, so we talked about changing the theme. Again, it's probably advantageous to you to change that theme if you have multiple sections of a class, so that it's easy to spot in your list of classes. Okay, so I'm just going to go and show you right now what my list of classes looks like. So anytime you want to get out of one class and go to another of your Google classes, you could just click on I call it a hamburger menu here, the three little lines, and go to classes, and you'll see that I have many classes going on here. And so, you would want to change the look of that title banner just to make sure that you can easily find that class, and also so the kids can find it easily too, and they know that they're in the correct one. All right, so Rachel, no worries. All right, so I'm going to go ahead back and go to my slide deck and go to the next slide, which I talked a little bit about, but now I'm going to go into further detail. The stream. The stream is where you post announcements. You can post assignments there too. I prefer to do that in the Classwork tab, but definitely any announcements that you have, you would want to put it in the stream, okay? And remember, that's the default. When you come to Classroom, you're coming to the stream. When you create a new announcement or assignment, you can do several things. I'm going to hop right back over to this class and show you what you can do. All right, so let's see. This is my classroom that I'm in. This is my announcements page or my stream. So what I want to do is I could share this, share something with the class. Hey guys, check out this cool video on animals. All right, tell me what you think about it. All right, so I'm giving them an announcement. I'm announcing something to them. I'm giving them sort of a task, okay? It's not for a grade. It's just something that I just want them to look at, all right? So right above this, you'll see it says 4. If you have more than one Google Classroom, you can arrow down and you can select all of your classrooms, okay? So, or you can just choose 1 or 2. Whoever you want that announcement to go to, that's who it's going to go to, all right? You select the classroom that you want it to go to. Of course, if you only have one classroom created, then that's it. It's just going to them. You can also even take that a step further by selecting the students that you want it to go to. So let's say that you have an announcement that you want to make to just one student in the class. Maybe you see that that student's having difficulty with something and you just want to give them a little bit of encouragement or whatnot. Then you would type a little message to them, select that student, of course, select the class that that student is in, select that student's name. So let's say I just want this to go to Jeremy. Right now, he's the only student in that classroom, right? But if I selected more than one class, all right, 2 classes, then I would have multiple students there. But anyway, you get my drift, right? So right now, I want it to go to all students, so I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna leave it clicked, and then I go to add. All right, so here's the fun part. I'm going to add a YouTube video, right? Because I wanted them to look at this cool video on animals. So you can also, if you have a document in your Drive that you want them to look at, you can select that document from your Google Drive. If you have a website that you want them to check out, you can post the link here. If you had a file that's not in your Google Drive, just on your computer that you wanted to share with them, you could click here to share that file with them. But for all the purposes of this training, we are going to type into YouTube animal videos. All right, and I'm going just to hit enter. And you can see they have all kind of stuff, like all the animal videos that are on YouTube. There's going to have a million of them. You probably want to check this out before you assign it to your students, right? So let's say I just want them to look at this video, all right? So I would just click on this video and click on the word add. Now, you see this button here that says post. You can do a few things. You can schedule that. Let's say you don't want them to see that right away. You want them to see that first thing in the morning, all right? So then you would hit schedule. And today is April 21st. I'm gonna schedule it for April 22nd at 8 a.m. And this can be changed, of course, these dates and times, and then I could hit schedule, and it would not show up in their feed until April 22nd at 8 a.m., all right? The second thing you could do is you could save it as a draft. Let's say that you have other things that you wanna add to this. Let's say you have a document that you're not quite finished working on, and you want that document, you wanna include that document in the post, but you want to finish the document first. So you could just save this as a draft and come back, and when you're done with that document, add it here and then go on ahead and post it. Okay, so you can pull up your saved drafts. But I'm just going to hit post because that's what I want to do here. So I'm posting it. So now all of my students have this video at their disposal. They're going to get this message from their teacher, which is me. Hey guy, I should have put guys, check out this cool video on animals. Tell me what you think about it. Then after they get the video and look at it, they would have the opportunity to comment below. All right, so it's kind of like a discussion board. All right. Okay, so I have someone that's saying that their code did not work for Google Classroom. I tried to join my own class and had a parent try. It says code invalid. So at that point, what I would do, if you get a message that your code is invalid, number one, I make sure that you are in the district's Google, that signed into your Google Classroom that's within the district. Okay, so you want to make sure that first. Second, if that happens, you may want to consider just deleting that class and starting anew. I've never had that happen, but I'm not going to say that it won't, you know. That's something that, you know, I'm definitely here to help. If maybe we can talk after about how we could resolve that issue. So, all right, having said that, I'm going to pop back in here to my slide and talk a little bit more about the stream. Google Classroom, by giving you a stream, gives you a place to post your announcements. Okay, so unlike a website with one-way communication, the students can comment back on the announcement. So just as you saw, I gave them an announcement, and the students then have the ability to chime in under that announcement and tell me what their thoughts are on that video that I posted. You can even attach things, and we talked about that. You can attach things from your Google Drive, from your computer. So there's all sorts of things that you can do within the stream for announcements, which makes it super cool. And again, and as you saw, the YouTube video, so it just populates all those videos right into, when you type in YouTube video, you can search for whatever you want specifically, and it'll pop that right into your announcements. Anybody have any questions? Just go ahead and chat those in, because I'm looking right there at the chat box as we speak. So, alrighty, moving along. Ways to use your stream. Let's talk about that. We already said that it was a place to make announcements to your class, right? But it's also a place for students to make announcements to each other. Like they can have questions. And so again, like a discussion board, you know, pump each other up. Hey, great job. You know, it could be a ticket out the door or warm up, a virtual classroom discussion, a quick writing prompt. You can share links with your students, which I talked about. So that's some of the things that you can do with a stream. I talked about how to make an announcement in the stream. Again, you want to click on the stream tab, type in your announcement into the top box, add attachments, files from your drive, YouTube links or links to other sites, and then click on the class that you want to post the announcement to and the students if you want to streamline it and only include certain students. You can post the same announcement to multiple classes at one time, which makes it phenomenal. You definitely don't want to have to keep on post to this class and then go into this class and post. You know, if you have the same announcement, hey, why not select all those classes and just tick them off, and there you go. Everybody gets the same announcement. And when I say tick them off, I don't mean tick them off, make them mad, all right? I mean, tick the classes off. Then click post, schedule for later, or draft. So you have those three options as well. So that's just a review. Okay, so next we're gonna talk about classwork, all right? When I assign in classwork, I would assign, that's how I would communicate with my kids relative to an actual assignment that's going to be graded. Okay, so I'm going to pop over to my classroom. I'm going to go to the Classwork tab. Remember, we talked about these 4 right here. There are constants, right? Stream for announcements, classwork. There we go. No problem, Jeremy. Okay, so as you can see, this is a newly set up classroom, so I don't have any classwork, but I'm going to show you how to create classwork here. All right, so the first thing you would want to do is click on create, okay? So once you click on create, oh, let me see, submitting assignment. I sent an assignment for students to edit a Google slide presentation. It's design, yeah. My account lets me edit the slides. However, when a student views the file, it says view only. Okay, that's a great question. How can I make it default to allow them to edit the file? All right, so a couple of things. When you create a slide presentation, when you have that little share button at the top right, just like in Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides is the same. You would have to click share and then make sure that they have editing rights. So it'll be a little pencil, okay? If they have view only rights, then they can't add to your slide. So that's a great question. All right, so the persons who's having issues, we'll discuss that after. We can do that right after this. I'll walk you through it and we'll see if we can get your issue resolved. All right, so here we go. Create assignment. All right, so as you can see, this huge box comes up. All right, so it says, what do you want to call this assignment? I'm going to say mammals. All right. Or types, let me do this. Let me make it a little bit more general. Types of animals. All right. I'm going to, again, have them watch a video. Please watch the attached video and complete the assignment and quiz. All right, so I'm telling them that they're going to have an assignment. It's going to be on types of animals. I'm telling them that they're going to have to watch a video, complete an assignment, and take a quiz. All right, so that's a lot of stuff, right? All right, so I want to call your attention to some things. First off, just like you did in announcements, you have the option to add things, right? Okay, so I'm going to add, guess what? A YouTube video, types of animals. All right, so I'm adding types of animals, a video. I want them to watch that. And see, this says animal classification. So I'm just saying, okay, this is what I want them to do. I want them to watch this video, right? So there you go. I have them watching a video about animal classification or types of animals. Then I'm going to add a file from my Google Drive. Let's say that I already have something in my Google Drive that I've created, like a worksheet, okay, or something like that. I can search it. Let's see, types. Let me see if I have anything on types of animals, a document. Okay, so I have this document called types of animals, okay? I created that. If you don't have it, you can create it right here in Google Classroom. I'm gonna show it to you. Basically, all I did for this was I opened up a Google Doc and I typed in watch the video and put animals into the category that they belong. So I have a category that says mammals, one that says reptiles, one that says amphibians. So basically, what the students would do is after watching the video, they would have this Google Doc where they would type in the names of animals, okay? Much to your question, about the Google Slides, right here, you see this, that says students can view file? You definitely would want to go down here and say, make a copy for each student. That's what I was telling you about when I talked about the pages, like if you are handing out pages in your classroom. So you want to make a copy for each student, all right? So this is going to keep track of all of your students' work, all right? And what Google Classroom does is it creates a folder of your class in your drive. Then it creates a folder for each student in your drive. And then it creates a folder for each assignment in your drive. Okay, so all of that is contained in the Google Classroom folder that it creates for you every time you create a new classroom. So why would I say students can edit this file? Okay, so I'm going to go to the question that was asked about the slide presentation. So it sounded like from your question about the kids couldn't work on the presentation, I wanted them to each do a slide or something. Okay, so if you want the students to work collaboratively on the document or the slide that you attach here, then you're going to click students can edit file. All right, you want them just to be able to edit it. So again, that way everybody can edit on the same file. So view a file, all they can do is look at it. Edit a file, they're working collaboratively, all right? Make a copy for each student, they're each working in their own document, all right? So I'm gonna ding this off because this is not a group project right now. So I'm gonna say make a copy for each student. So it's gonna make a copy for each of those students, right? And so when they open up their classroom, they're going to be able to see that they have an assignment, and I'm going to tell you, yes. Okay, so I'm going to discuss with you other options that you need to ding off before you can move on. So, all right, so we go over to the right and you see it says four, okay? Is everybody seeing this? I hope so. All right, so for who do you want to create this? For what class is what they're asking. Do you want to create this for the Highland teachers, for the CTE training, for this, for the sample CTE, for Trisha's class training? So you can create this assignment and assign it to every class you have. I mean, it's really up to you. Like, so the reason you would do that is, let's say you teach 4 sections of science and it's the same material for all 4 sections, right? So you're just going to go down here and you're going to say, okay, they get this assignment, they get this assignment, they get this assignment. All of the kids get that assignment because I'm teaching them all the same thing at the same time, right? All right, so that's where you would do that. And then you can also go down to the students and you can filter it by student. So, okay, this kid needs modification. So you know what? I'm going to go down and I'm going to do something specifically for this child. So I'm not going to select him right away. I'm just going to go and make like a little, you know, something that is a little more tailored for what his needs are. So that's where you would do that. All right, so let's look at point value. All right, right under there you have points, and this is set to be worth 100 points. But let's say that I don't want it to be 100 points, okay? Or let's say I don't want it graded at all. I'm just giving it to them. And you know, right now it's optional, right? So definitely you would want to select ungraded. But if you selected to grade it, what happens is they're going to turn that in, and when they do turn that into you, then you can manually grade it, all right? You can look at their paper and say, okay, yes, I give you all the points, right? 100 out of 100, whatever. So this is basically whatever you choose for it to be, either ungraded or you can assign a point value to it, all right? I'm gonna say ungraded. Due date, well, you decide. Do you want them to have it done by the next day or next week or next month? You know, you decide that. And then so you click on a date and you can click on a time, midnight. I want them to have it done by midnight. Okay, so then this is very, very important. Where you see topic here, it says no topic. I'm going to tell you that every assignment that you create, it would be very advantageous to you to create a topic to go with it. So let's say that I'm in chapter 7 of science, okay? So I'm going to create a topic and I'm going to say chapter 7. This is chapter 7, okay? Everything in chapter 7 is about types of animals. So do I have a rubric that I need to attach here for the kids to see? If I did, I could attach it here, right? Is it a writing assignment? I could ding off originality reports. And so that way Google is checking for originality, right? So you can do that here with a writing assignment if you had that. Now, the next thing you would do, which I'm not going to do just yet because I have one more component that I want to add to this assignment, but the next thing that you would do is you could potentially click assign, or you could go down and schedule that assignment, right? You could save it as a draft. Hey, I'm not done working on this. I have one more thing to add to it, so I'm just going to save it as a draft until I'm ready to send it out, okay? Or of course you can discard a draft if you have one, okay? So I'm not going to click assign just yet because I have one more thing to show you. So under that assignment, I'm going to also give them a quiz, right? I want to see if they knew what this was, but I don't have a quiz to give them. So I'm going to just create a quiz real quick, okay? So I hit create. It gives you the option to create a document, a slide, a sheet, a drawing, or a form. I don't know if you attended forms, but let me tell you, this is a great class. This is something you need to go do. This is amazing, the potential of forms. You could give an assessment and it will grade it right there for you. And you know that grades tab, remember the 4 constants, stream, classwork, people, grades, it will pop right into your graded section, grades it for you and everything. All right, so I'm going to create a form because I don't have one, right? So it's going to open that form. I'm going to say, okay, this form is going to be types of animals. All right, so that's the name of the form. And I'm not going to really, for time's sake, put any directions, but I'm going to add a video, okay? So again, I'm adding a video. You don't have to because remember they've already watched the video, but I'm just going to do it just because. Let's say I didn't give them the video to watch, or let's say it's a separate video to watch, or animal features I could put. All right, let's say I just want to do that. Put animal features. And okay, animals with unique or fur, feathers, scales, or skin. Here we go. Let's choose this one. That sounds like a good one. All right, so then I have them watch. I say, okay, watch. I would tell them to watch the video and answer the questions below. All right, so y'all ready? This is fun. Okay, so next thing I want to do is I want to add a picture, right? I want to add a picture. So I'm going to, which type of animal is this? All right, I'm going to add a picture. Well, when you go to add a picture, the great thing about this is you can search right in a Google image search. And I'm going to say whale. Give me a whale. That's what I want. All right, so here we go. This looks nice. I like that picture. Pretty cool. All right, so which type of animal is this? And I would start selecting my options. Okay, is it a fish? All right, is it an amphibian? If I misspelled that, oh well, my brain is kind of on overload right now. Or is it a mammal? All right, okay, so I am creating a quiz, right? I'm going to make this required because they need to know, they need to answer it, right? They need to answer this. Okay, so it's multiple choice. I have everything done, but you know what? I need to do something in order to be able to grade this assignment, okay? So, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna go up here to like settings, and I'm gonna click on quizzes and make this a quiz, all right? So I'm making it a quiz, right? It's saying turn on locked mode. If they are on a Chromebook, it's going to lock all the other tabs so they can't get to anything else but that quiz, all right? Release grade. You can release that grade immediately after the submission, or you can later manually release that grade, okay? I'm gonna just say immediately after the submission, okay? Respondents can see missed questions. Nah, I don't want them to see that. Correct answers. Nah, I don't want them to see that. Point values. That sounds good. I'll let them see how much the question is worth. All right, so got that done. I'm gonna scoot back over to questions. And now you see where it says answer key right here? You click on that and you select the correct answer and done. So now it's going to grade it for you. But one other thing, you must, where it says answer key, give it a point value, all right? So in answer key, you're doing two things. You're dinging off the correct answer and you're giving a point value. So I'm gonna say this is worth, let's say 10 points. I'm just playing around with this, right? Okay, let's say I want to have another question, all right? But this time I don't want it to be multiple choice, all right? I want to, well, I'm going to do another multiple choice. Keep in mind, if you do give them short answers, then you have to, or paragraphs, then you have to grade that manually, all right? So I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying keep that in mind, that that's a section that you would have to grade manually. All right, so for time's sake, I'm just not going to go through any of this, but I will, any more of this, just because we don't have a whole lot of time. But you can always delete questions and whatnot. So I have this being worth 10 points, right? So I'm going to say, okay, I'm done with this, right? Well, go back to your classroom and you got that form right here. It's all ready. Even though it says untitled, you don't need to worry about it. It's your form, all right? And it's assigning it to them. So you don't need to be worried about that. It's going to be assigned to them whenever you hit that assign button. Anybody have questions? All right, now remember, on point value, I had ungraded. But if I wanted it to be graded, then I'd need to assign it the same point value that I did for the Google form, right? If you're doing a test and you're assigning them a 100-point exam, then you want this to be worth 100 points too. All right, and I'm gonna hit assign, and it's going to work. You're gonna see it working, assigning, it says, and then before long, you'll see their assignment right here in the classwork tab. All right, now keep in mind, it's taking me a little while to give them this assignment, but a lot of the things that you would assign, you would already have created, right? So maybe not a form, but like a document that had that they would have to answer, which, by the way, if you have a Word document, you can pull that into your Google Drive and convert it to a Google form where they can copy and answer that. So that's always possible too. All right. All right, so any questions? I said a mouthful. All right, if no questions, I'll continue talking. So if you look to the left, remember I said how important it was to make a topic, or to give a topic, assign a topic. Remember when I said chapter 7, I was assigning the topic chapter 7? Well, as you can see, Here's the chapter 7, here's my topic, and here's an assignment under that chapter 7, all right? So there's the assignment. So anything that you create under the topic chapter 7 would fall under those topics, okay? So you could potentially have chapter 7, chapter 8, chapter 9, chapter 10. By the way, you can reuse assignments and you can reuse announcements too and assign them to other classes. So just so you know that. All right. They have 3 little dots here. You can also copy the link to that assignment and paste it in. You can rename it. You can delete it. So there's all kind of things that you can do. And I just talked about one thing, which was the assignment. But you have a quiz assignment if you want to just do a quiz and not have all those things combined. How could a student turn in a written math problem that shows their work? Okay, so they would have to write the problem, take a picture of the problem, and then upload the problem, okay? And that can all be done on the student side, all right? So they could write it down on paper, take a picture of it, and they can send that to you. So there's a way, let me show you this. So, all right, let's say that you want them, you want to create material, right? You want to create material, and let's say you would create a document, and in that document you would just say math problem, okay? Math problem, April 21. All right, so you've created the worksheet, all right? You have math problem, all right? This is it, it's here. You want to assign that to students, so you would go here. I'm gonna create a topic because I don't have any other topics. I'm gonna do chapter 8. Let's for the sake of showing you how the chapters are organized or the topics are organized, all right? That student can then, I think it's still working here. Because, oh, material. Okay, so my bad. I said material. For material, that's really not an assignment. That's just notes that you're giving to them. Okay, what I should have done was click on add or create an assignment, okay? Add, not material. Let me get out of this. So I'm gonna X this out, right? I'm not creating material. I'm creating an assignment or a question, right? So again, here you can have a question, and you can allow right here for students to reply to each other, and students can edit their answer, all right? And this is where they can answer that question. If you have instructions, you can actually have them type in their answer, all right? So you're giving them a question. What is the square root of 4? All right, all right. And so you're going to assign it, give it a point value, or choose ungraded, give it a due date, all right? Give it a topic. I'm gonna create that topic, let me just say math, just so you can see. They can also edit their answers if they want to. That's an option. And then you can ask that question, all right? You can ask it now, you can schedule it, you can ask it later. And so you would hit that, and it's asking them the question, all right? And now you can see under this, it's gonna say math, excuse me, 0 turned in, 1 was assigned, okay? So they would type it in, and then there's going to be a way to turn that in. They can post it to you, all right? So that's something that, you know, each person has a different way of what their preference is. So some people like to create assignments, and ask them to turn in things like that. Some people like to turn in questions. I guess it depends all on the material that you're using, but you can definitely let them upload pictures. Okay, so they have the ability to upload pictures of work and turn it in. So when they're ready to turn in an assignment, what they're going to do is hit turn in. All right, so that's on the student side. They would hit turn in. Now, we talked about the people tab, and that's where you invite your students, but you can also invite teachers, other teachers. So let's say you have a co-teacher and you want them to join you in this particular class. You can do that here. Select their name. I'm gonna just say, I'm gonna get Suzanne to be a co-teacher, and I'm gonna send her an invite. So she's getting an invite and she becomes a co-teacher, right, of that class once she accepts. The last tab is the grades tab. And as you can see, Jeremy turned in his assignment. Yay, Jeremy. All right, so we're all good, right? So once he's turned in the assignment, you can view his submission. All right. You can see what he did here. All right, and say, okay, well, you know, I'm going to give Jeremy a good grade on this, right? So you can return his assignment to him. The student will be notified and he can check any grade you left, right? So again, you would want to go in and, sorry, you would want to go in and maybe tell Jeremy, give Jeremy your comments. Okay, great job. Thanks for turning in your assignment. Woo, on time. Return. All right, and then you would, after you return it, you can also put a grade here. So Jeremy got a 90 out of 100, okay? Well, actually he got 100. So let me just change this because he really did turn it in really quickly. So you got it there. Now, if you are having, if you're just doing a quiz, one quiz with point value, and it's grading it for you, then if you complete the quiz successfully, you know, the grade will go in automatically. All right. So anybody have any questions about that? We're pretty done here. I think that I went over everything. Unless you have questions, I'll say that we're done. So I'll wait on the line for anybody who has questions, and we can go through anybody that chatted with me that had a problem. We can go through that as well. But if you need to go, you can definitely do that. So it was great seeing all of you and meeting with all of you. I hope you all stay safe and have a great rest of the week. I'm going to stop the recording and we'll have a Q&A.